What's up, good people? This is your guy JD, and we back for another episode. And we're gonna do what? We're gonna cultivate.
And this is your girl, Erica J, and we're going to what? Accumulate.
And together we all will
prosper.
Yeah, it's good to be back in the booth, lady.
It's always good. It's always good to be here.
All right, so we got an exciting episode for you all today. So let's get right off into the buzz topic. The first buzz topic we're gonna get off into is the Jess, Hilarious, and Loren dispute on air on the Breakfast Club on Wednesday. What's your take on that, Erica?
Now, first, let me say I totally agree with the fact that when people have differences, it's important to talk about them. I think it's important how you talk about them, and in this case, it's important where you talk to them because they were actually on the air. So I think it's important to air out your differences, but not on the air, because it's good to see, some things, especially when you can work it out. You work it out good and people can see that you can work it out, but it just wasn't a good look, in my opinion.
I agree with you on that part. But sometimes things happen like that.
Yeah.
They needed to work that out because, it was kind of appeared that they was somewhat gaslighting Jess.
Yeah.
On how she felt. I mean, she went on maternity leave. Of course, she did select Loren to fill in for her during maternity leave. But then when she gets back, I don't think it was a jealousy thing like some people was trying to make it. But they should have defined the role like, yeah, we should add her as well.
Right.
And Charlemagne was making jokes about it, but everybody don't find that funny. Jess didn't find it funny at the time.
All.
And it just should have. It could have been handled off the air, but now that it's on there, it happened during the time. At least they got over appear to be gotten over the hump of it. So, but
and it did appear that it was going to be like, even when I first saw it, I thought she was there temporarily just to fill in, and I believe Jess even mentioned that too. That she was brought on to fill in, and now she's here. So that's what I thought too. So it should have been made known to everybody involved that, okay, she is going to be on the show once you get back, because then it probably could have helped smooth it a little bit, and they could be ready to take on those roles.
Yeah, and they both bring a different dimension to the show, so it doesn't dim Jess's because she was selected a while back to fill the shoes after Angela Yee departed. But it just should have been something that they should have said, okay, we're going to bring a fourth person. We're going to have Loren on here permanently or however. And so it wouldn't have played out the way it did. But it's over and done with.
The good thing is they're good now.
Yeah, so
it seems.
Yeah. The next buzz topic, 47, Mr. Trump signs an executive order to eliminate the Department of Education. What is your take on that?
Okay, let me find my words very carefully. I don't like it. I can't say that I don't like it. I feel like eliminating the Department of Education. Now, let me be clear. I did read yesterday that he was saying that it's not all of the department, and that it's some parts of it that they have eliminated, but it was a big chunk. You know what I'm saying? It was a big chunk that you have eliminated, and it's not when you have other people that's involved in something, that's a big hit. That's the Department of Education. I know of at least one person that I used to go to church with that worked for the Department of Education, and she was let go. So you're messing with people's livelihood, and then that's a lot. It can, keep some people from being able to get a quality education as well.
Well, my take on this before we move on is that this is a strategic effort to create a permanent underclass with people of color, especially black people, brown people. because out of all the presidents, no one has ever decided to eliminate the Department of Education. I mean, that's everyone that lives out here in this country don't have the money or the luxury to send their children to private school. So public schools are needed. And who do you think that's going to affect the most? So this is a strategic effort by the Republican Party, to me, people that perpetuate white supremacy to create a permanent underclass, and it's going to affect minorities the most.
Right.
And no matter how people want to debate back and forth on it, unless you have the money to put your child into a private school on a tuition, and we're not talking about the students who play sports, because they're not referring to that because they know they need them to come play sports for their schools. We're talking about outside of the students who are athletes. That's going to affect the average, everyday African-American, Latino-American child. So once again, what was said during the election time that he was going to do from the other side, he's actually doing that.
Yeah.
And so it's, hopefully somebody in Congress will be like, okay, this is going too far. But most of the people that's in the House and the Senate are all Republicans, and they're falling in line. Same way that people fell in line for the DEI cutbacks.
Yep.
So this is just one of those things that people need to take seriously in every city in America, and stop trying to overlook it. Like, if you love your children, like you say you do, you'll pay attention to this, because our grandparents did for us. Otherwise, we wouldn't have had the privileges that we've had. So That's how I look at that. But it's another sucker-ass move by Trump, so it is what it is. The last but not least, the buzz topic, unfortunately, the passing of the legendary boxer George Foreman at 76 years old. That actually happened yesterday.
Yeah.
At his home in Houston, Texas. It's ironic, he passed away at 76, and his professional boxing record was 76-5. And he became the oldest person to win the World Heavyweight Championship back in 1994 at the age of 45 years old. But he's famously remembered for the Rumble in the jungle. It was a couple years before I was born, against Muhammad Ali over in Africa. So I've always admired George Foreman. He's always been in my top 5 of boxers all time. He had a powerful punch, George Foreman. And, of course, I own one of those grills, the George Foreman grills. So what's your take on it?
I was just about to add too, and the creator of the George Foreman grill. I love my George Foreman grill, I promise you. George Foreman was a great man. And like you said, it goes far beyond even just being a boxer.
Yeah.
Just a really, really good man. And, being a boxer is not that I know about the main boxers, of course. And he was a great man. So it's a huge loss. That was new to me, of course, with his boxing record. That's amazing.
Yeah,
76.
He had 81 professional fights, 76-5. After he lost that bout to Muhammad Ali in 74, he did, I think, 1 or 2 more fights. Then he retired. He had a call in to go into preaching.
Yeah.
And then he decided to make a comeback in 1994 and won the championship as a 45-year-old, and then retired for the last and final time at the age of 48 in 1997. So that was remarkable.
Another great example of how you can be over 40 and still got it.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, that is. And then he pivoted to that George Foreman grill and sold. They said it sold over 100 million units, and he sold his segment of it for 138 million. So his grandkids' kids are set. he made a power move. He really made a chess move.
So listen, those of us who watch, who listen, y'all make sure y'all go out and get a George Foreman grill if you don't have one already.
Yeah. So rest in peace, Big George. And the movie is on Netflix. I watched it last year. It was pretty good. So if you haven't seen it, I'm pretty sure it's for to get a lot of streams now. But the movie about his life, it's on Netflix. I know I watched it last year because I think it came to the theaters early last year, but it's on Netflix. So, but that concludes the buzz. So today we have a special guest in the building on the C.A.P podcast. She is an author of a book, Child's Faith, but she's a writer, director, producer, and actress on different films, plays. She also works as a social worker. She's written an independent film for LCT City Productions. She's the co-producer of a web series called Under Pressure. And her quote is, "I never quite fit in, and I love that for me." So introducing to some and to many, this is Lavelle.
Hello. Hello, hello, hello.
Hello, lovely Lavelle.
Thank y'all for having me. I appreciate it.
Thank you for coming to Bumps. So I gave just a little synopsis on your bio. Just what do you want our listeners to know about you?
I don't know. It's a lot. I have my hands in a lot of pots. You know, God has blessed me with a lot of different gifts, and I try to, partake in all of them. Yeah. It's crazy because my acting was triggered by traumatic experiences that I had as a child. And so acting for me became very therapeutic. So that's how I got into that lane. And then as far as the social work portion is concerned, it's because of those things as well that led me to social work, because I wanted to help other people who had gone through some of the same things that I had gone through. And so although I wrote A Child's Faith, before that I wrote a small book called The Aftermath. And it's the traumatic effects of childhood molestation. Okay. And Child's Faith came out later, but I'd written that as a teenager. But I didn't publish it until like maybe 5 or 6 years ago. Okay. Yeah, and it's all self-published or whatever. So I'll be republishing A Child's Faith.
Okay. Mm-hmm. Well, I'm a fellow author, so I definitely understand that. Erica's an upcoming author. So yeah, it's the power. It's a power in the pen, just like it's power in this mic, and power to do creative arts on stage. So what I want to ask you is, what sparked your passion into acting, writing, and producing movies, plays, and web series?
Okay, so I already told you what inspired me into acting. I was a teenager then. I'm from Chicago, so I finished high school here, but I didn't start it here. But I started acting classes in Illinois, in Downers Grove, Illinois. So that's what got me into acting. It was therapeutic for me. I could be anybody but myself, as a teenager, and that's what I needed at that time. And then it just grew into a love. Like, I could not be on stage or behind the camera. I had to. I don't care if it was just one project a year. I had to do something as far as that. When I wrote the movie for Larry Clark, it was a book that they wanted transformed into a movie. So I transformed the book into a script, and I also got the opportunity to direct that. She pulled her giving her permission. She pulled it, so we didn't get to show the movie. But that's what sparked my writing. So like, I love writing. I feel like you can reach so many different people, and for me, my acting and my writing, it has to be purposeful. Yeah. I wanted to mean something to somebody, help somebody, or something like that. So, yeah, and that's kind of how Under Pressure was birthed. And it was crazy because the co-writer, producer, director, C.J. Nevels, we were just talking. We have a regular conversation. And out of nowhere, we just started piecing together different things. And we're like, man, this would be a great series. And so that's how that was birthed. And we wrote the first season, no, first 2 seasons in one night. Yeah.
Hey, I was putting the pen to the paper that night, man.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? That's burning the midnight oil, literally.
Yeah.
That's really, really amazing. And then just the fact of you saying that how therapeutic it is for you. I love writing with meaning myself. Everything that I write is not just for entertainment. Never has been. As a matter of fact, I enjoy that more than I actually enjoy the acting, because I've only acted mostly in church and one stage play. My question for you is to dab a little bit more into the other part of Lavelle. We know a lot about Lavelle, the creative. How did you come to pursue a career in social work rather than acting?
Well, my major was nursing at first.
Wow.
Yeah, and they're so similar. I didn't realize that until I was in school. But and I love biology and all of that stuff. All of it was amazing. Like anatomy and physiology was my favorite. But I didn't want to deal with the other stuff as far as being a nurse, the gore stuff.
Oh, yeah.
So I was like, I don't know if I want to do that. So I ended up switching it to social work then. I'm kind of glad I did, though, because it was more along the path for me, and who I was as a person, who I still am, because I still have a heart for people and I love helping people. And so that works for me now.
Okay. So does your social work stem more like into the hospitals and caring for people in that capacity?
Now I was at the hospital for 7 years. I left, and right now I am with an insurance company,
Okay.
United Healthcare, and I work in the Choices program. So it's kind of like getting nursing home services at home for the elderly and the disabled. And I love that. I love my people. I love going out and talking to them. A lot of them, they don't really have a support system. They don't really have people to talk to, or just, encourage them to enjoy the life that they have, or make sure that they have a quality life. And I get to do that. So I love that.
That's encouraging, especially for them, and inspiring as well.
So my other question is, getting back to the web series, what has been some of the challenges for you producing the web series Under Pressure that you spoke of?
We've had so many challenges. I think the most challenges have come for season 2 that's coming out. We've jumped some hurdles on season 2, from scheduling conflicts, from equipment, from it's been a lot of stuff. But I think that's because season 2 is going to be so good. It's so much better. It's kind of like you watch yourself get better each time that you do something.
Exactly.
And the editing, CJ does the editing. Oh my God, it is amazing. The way that it's coming together. And it's crazy because we're doing this on an iPhone. And it looks better than some, I hate to say that, but it looks better than some movies that are filmed with movie cameras.
Yeah. What's the synopsis of it? Because I know I saw that with your bio, but I know CJ. She knows CJ. He was on our show, on our podcast, our very first season. What is the synopsis of Under Pressure?
So it kind of it speaks to Black excellence and how we have to work twice as hard to get anything, basically. And what happens when you're under pressure and you lose everything? You lose everything. It touches mental health. It touches addiction, alcoholism, friendships, marriages, things of that nature. Like, how do you guys navigate when it seems like everything is against you?
Okay.
And it gets very heated, and it even touches a little bit on abuse,
Okay.
maybe emotional abuse, some physical abuse will come out as well. It's It's interesting. It's really good, and we wanted to do it because you don't see a whole lot talking about that. You know, all the aspects of pretty much being Black in America. You don't like the relationship part.
Right.
You know, we don't know how to love one another through hard times. We don't know how to help one another navigate. If it's, you know, sometimes, you know, I don't know how you guys grew up. I grew up in the hood on the west side of Chicago. So, like, if a child gets hurt or whatever, instead of saying, oh, Susie, you okay? A lot of them, that's what you get, because you shouldn't have been, blah, 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 blah. But it's still out of concern. You're concerned for this child. But you've had to...
Your delivery.
Yes, but you deliver it that way because that's how it was delivered to you. You know, we don't really know how to respond to certain people in certain situations.
Right.
And like if in Under Pressure, they're very well off. They grew up in money. They grew up having money. So it's kind of hard to navigate having everything and then you have nothing.
Going from abundance to lack is different when you go from lack to abundance, and then you know how to navigate getting back to abundance because of your experience from lack. But if you grow up in abundance or silver spoon or whatnot, and you never had to learn those lessons, when you lose it, you're gonna lose it.
Yes,
most
because
times.
You don't know how to navigate. You don't know how to think. Your mind has never been in that place.
You done got conditioned to be entitled.
Yep, pretty much.
Oh, definitely. You got and this is on.
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
It's on YouTube.
I'm about to check that joint out. Definitely.
Yeah, if you go into the search bar and you type in Under Pressure, the web series, it'll pop right up. And the season 2 trailer is up too.
Okay.
That's
so like and subscribe.
Really interesting. That's
really check that
cool.
out.
Yeah.
And it's really cool and it's real.
It is
People
real.
People can definitely relate to it.
Yes. And CJ's the same way. He likes to do relatable things that matter. So
it's
dope.
2 great great creatives working on a project that you just happen to just be talking about. That's the way God works sometimes. It's pretty good.
It is. It's amazing.
Lavelle, you are a mother.
I am.
An actress, a director, a producer, a social worker, an author, and so much more. How do you balance it all?
God. That's it. Sometimes I don't know how I balance it all. And I can only surmise that it's just God. You know, sometimes you have to. Now, I've been in a place where I've worried about everything. I got to do this, I got to do that. I haven't done this, I haven't done that. But then you get into a place where, you know, you're either going to trust or you're not. So I just trust God. And I do what I know that I can do. Exactly. And everything else, it just kind of falls in line. It really does. So even having a business partner, like, we get along amazingly well. We've had, we share pretty much everything. We share the writing, we share the directing, we share the producer, except for the editing. I don't do the editing, but we share everything else. And so, like, that is a blessing in itself because I've always wanted to do something like that, but I also wanted a partner because I think it's really important to get both aspects of male and female.
It is.
And I didn't have anybody that kind of meshed with my personality enough to do that until I met CJ. And I never would have thought that we would be as close as we are. But we are, and God is doing a great thing, and I love it. So I kind of rely on God to help me to do the things. And if it's something that falls, I'll pick it up, and it's okay, you know, because life is just life, right? It's all good.
And you know what? I think we can relate to that because I know JD did want to do a podcast. I've always wanted to do one. I contacted somebody back in 2020 about doing a podcast, but I didn't know the ins and outs. So to be able to, and we did have a former co-host too, so, but she had to do some other things. But the fact that we're still able to work in this and it works.
Yeah.
And it's a great feeling to be able to find somebody that you can actually work with and get along with and it's not a whole bunch of Breakfast Club.
No.
Oh, I got a pen on it, but yeah, the back and forth.
Yeah,
back and forth, I get it.
I had done this is my second time doing a podcast. I had done a solo podcast some years ago, which was more of a inspirational kind of it was just me on there, and I called it Lifegistics, a play on logistics. Mm-hmm. And but I always knew when I wanted to do it again that I wanted to have a co-host, because I follow podcasts. Like some people, this just become a trend, but I actually listen to certain podcasts, not everything that's out there. And I noticed that all of the good ones had more than one, most of the times had more than one person, and they had, at least two of the genders, because you can get a different perspective, because we know men and women think differently. Yeah, or quite a bit differently. You know what I mean? But
try to give us a little grace now.
Yeah. I mean, there's nothing wrong with that. Nothing wrong with that. I'm just saying. But so when I brought this to Erica and Shamel at the time, who was the third co-host on here, back in 2022, and working with people that you can actually work with, and who are actually cool and you can talk to and whatnot, that goes a long way. So. Now, since you own the show, we always ask our last few questions pertaining to the acronym CAP, because I decided to put a spin on the word CAP and when I came up with this. So I wanted to ask you, how did you cultivate your gift from being a young girl in Chicago into the woman you are now as the creative savant that you are now?
Life experiences and my relationship with God actually cultivated me from then to now. So when I was around 13 or 14 years old, that's when I really started seeking God for myself. So I didn't grow up in the church. But my sister, when she was in high school, she started going to church. And this lady named Miss Dervin, she was, I don't even know what her title was, to be honest, but I was in awe of her. And we would go sporadically. I would beg to go all the time, but we would only go sporadically. But I would start up, and it's crazy because around this time, God introduced this kid to me. We called him Ferret. He had a pet ferret. So that was our nickname for him. And for the life of me, I can't even think of his name right at this moment. But he had read the Bible from front to back. I think he was in 8th grade.
Wow.
And I was like, that's amazing. So I read the Bible from front to back.
Wow.
I did it twice, and then I did a genealogy. So I taped some poster boards together, and I did the whole genealogies of Jesus all the way through the Bible.
Well, you was really on it.
I was. I mean, I just really had this, I don't know what, it was something in me. I just needed to know as much as I could about God. I needed to know as much as I could about my purpose. Why am I here? What am I supposed to be doing? And so I think, there was this little swing set. We were in apartments, but there was a swing set in the pond that I would sneak out like late at night, and I would just sit on the swing and talk to God. And a lot of elders say, you can't don't test God, don't ask God questions. That's all I did. I'd be like, well, God, if you up there, you're going to send somebody here so I can go to school. Love going to school, but I had to babysit my sister's children. So some days I would be late or can't go. It just depends on if she came home. And he would show up for me in those little ways every single time. And I just thought that was really, really amazing. And so when we did go to church, this one particular time, Miss Dervin, she was speaking in tongues and all of this. And I was like, oh, I want that. And so I went up to her after service and I said, I want to do that. She said, do what? I said, I want the Holy Spirit. And she looked at me and she said, okay, come on. And she went and got all the kids and put us in a circle or whatever. Everybody was holding hands or whatever. And when she started speaking in tongues, she was praying and all the things. She said, just open your mouths. I was the only one that came out with it. And from that point on, I'm like, okay, so God is real and I'm a believer. He showed up for me every single time. Even through all the things that I went through as a child, like I won in a lot of situations.
Yeah.
You don't really think about that until you're older.
Uh-huh.
So that journey from then until adulthood, that is what got me to where I am now, to help me cultivate what I do now, because aspect or a piece of every stage of my life is in my writing or in the roles that I take.
That's dope. That's an amazing testimony, man, for real. Because when you're a child, I think it says in the word that one cannot enter into heaven unless you have childlike faith. Something to that, to that. Not maybe those exact words, but something to that nature. And a lot of times, people be so heavenly spiritual, they know earthly good, and they put on these charades.
Yes.
And I'm big in my faith, but when I see somebody that tries to be judgmental on anybody, regardless of what, I just look at them and be like, yeah, you need to stop.
You know what's so funny?
Yeah.
I was just thinking about that out in the car. I said, I wonder if we're going to get to talk about that. I hate overly religious people and things. And so when I say that I'm not religious, I'm not saying I'm over here with crystals and sage. I'm not saying that. I am saying what's most important is your relationship with God. How bad do
Exactly.
you want him? What is important is love. Love covers a multitude of sin. If I love you, I'm not going to sin against you, because why? I want what's best for you and I want to see you prosper. I think that is the key that Jesus was trying to get us to understand. I think that's the key that God was trying to get us to understand before he sent Jesus. So I have to implement rules for you so that you can get this one simple concept. Because if I tell you this one simple concept, you're not going to get it. So let me just give you rules so that you could move the way I'm telling you to move. You know how we do children? We give them rules, right? Because it develops character. It teaches you what you can and cannot do as an adult. Your place and your status in this world. That's all God did. He gave you rules to teach you. It's easier to give rules than to just say, do this. You're not going to understand. A kid is not going to understand. So you give them rules.
Right.
And then they understand when they're older. So I think some people get so caught up, like the Pharisees and Sadducees.
Yeah.
They get so caught up in tradition and doing just this way. So when Jesus came, they weren't prepared because he moved out of love. You know what I'm saying?
Exactly.
No work, no healing, no whatever on the Sabbath. Okay, but they're sick, they're hungry, and I love them, so I'm going to heal them. I'm going to feed them. So if I love you, I won't sin against you.
Exactly.
And it's kind of difficult to get somebody to understand that without rules. And so I just really, and I hate when people judge any situation, right or wrong or whatever, because there's consequences to every action.
Every single
Whether
one.
right or wrong. And some consequences are very difficult to take and deal with, because sometimes it can take a life. Sometimes, someone can be cut so deep that they can't get back up. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
And sometimes they take their lives. So you have to understand that there's consequences to every action. But if you keep in your mind that your Creator loves you immensely, and only thing he wants you to get is love, is the key thing, then you'll be okay. You won't sin. You won't hurt anybody. You won't kill. You won't murder. You won't do any of these things, because in your heart, you have a heart for people.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And even when people do something against you, yeah, it's going to hurt and you can be mad. But you should be able to forgive, because love should be unconditional. That's really what it's supposed to be.
Exactly.
But we know that it's not, because you have some people who haven't come into the revelation yet. So,
And
I'm sorry, that's a soapbox.
You good?
I have learned that you're going to deal with so many different kinds of people in this world. Mm-hmm. And it's crazy that the ones that we end up coming across are the ones who want to judge you. They want to judge you because you did this. And sometimes they're looking for you to see how you're going to respond. And you have to decide, okay, this person is really, really working my nerves. But are you going to respond in anger? Or are you going to respond, just as you said, in love? You have to make that choice. Because these people are going to be people anyway.
My time is why I keep to myself. I don't say a whole lot unless I really know you. So
Yes, and I have learned that about you. I have definitely learned that about you, and and that says a lot because I'm the same way. I'm very careful. I'll speak to anybody, but I don't allow everybody to get to know me. It's certainly a difference. You have to be careful with who you let around in your circle. Like Sarah Jakes Robert said one time, they're still connected to the blood, just not connected to me.
yeah, exactly.
Right. So with cultivate, accumulate, prosper, in all that you do that we just discussed, what would you say you have accumulated over the years?
Success. I have
Agree with that.
successfully entered and worked my purpose. I do that every day. Every day that I wake up, I feel like I'm operating in my purpose. We all are, really, but a lot of people don't realize that. So,
What would you define as success? I always look at it as if I am doing something or helping and I see growth in the person that I'm working with, that's success to me.
Well, success for me is I kind of follow the divine order. So God first. My relationship with God is strong. You know, even when I'm tested severely, it's strong, and I know where my help come from. I'm not going anywhere. Like I'm not leaving. And my prayer is always for God to keep me in His hands. That's it. So to me, that's success. I've successfully managed to keep God in the forefront of my life through all things. The next thing is family. I love my children. You know, they are my heart. They are gifts. God entrusted me. I don't feel like I do a good enough job, but that's me being hard on myself as always. But I am successful in raising them the way that I have to. Successful in keeping relationships with their fathers because I think it's so important. So I feel like I'm successful in that. And then the third is purpose. So it's God, family, purpose. And I'm definitely walking in my purpose because I try to do every single thing, use every single gift He's given me. So that's what defines success to me.
I remember my pastor saying things to that nature, exhaust all things, empty your quiver. Know that by the time you leave this world, you have emptied your quiver.
And it may not be absolutely amazing, but it is. And I've done my best. And whatever God needed to get out through that, it'll get there. You know, He gives the increase.
Oh, so. Yes. Girl, you preaching.
So last, the prosper question, how has your numerous endeavors allowed you to prosper?
I have met some amazing people, and they come through for me when I least expect it. And so that allows me to prosper, even right down to my ex-husband. Like, I really feel like people have my back, no matter what happened in the past or anything like. And I know that's God. That's nothing but God. But people have my back, so I don't ever wonder if I have to do something alone now. I may have to walk alone in certain things, but I know that there's a ram in the bush, basically, if I should so need it, you know. And sometimes those people, they come to me, be like, hey, if you need help with such and such, just let me know. I ain't said nothing about needing help with such and such, you know. And I don't end any friendship, relationship, anything with bad blood. I don't. I love you. I just have to love you from a distance. Or we don't mesh. If I know that we don't mesh, our personalities, our life goals, they don't line up, then, and that's okay, you know, but I have to be very careful about my space.
Yeah, that's a definite right there. You have to have discernment to understand that when dealing with people. Exactly. I operate under that in my life because it's people that I'm cool with, and it's people that that I love. This is pertaining not only just to friends but to family as well, and it's folks that I may love from a distance or deal with from a distance, based on whatever has been predicated in my life interaction with them. Because you have to learn that. You have to realize that some people don't until it reach a breaking point, and you don't ever want to reach a breaking point, because once it reach a breaking point, it could get ugly.
And I have.
Yeah.
I did reach mine.
I did. You there?
Yes, I did reach mine. So now, though, God would just disappear people on me. Like, well, what happened? I don't know what happened. Like, they just stopped calling, stopped coming around. I'm like, you know what, God, that's cool, because I see now that my release game has gotten strong. You know, I can release people now and not feel away. Because usually I want to hold on because of the spirit of rejection that I had as a child. I want to hold on so tight to people that I find. But at the same time, you know, you can't take everybody with you. So you got to be able to release. So I've learned to do that. So
that's an important thing to learn, because I've definitely learned to let go.
Let go. And it may not have anything to do with you while they're gone. It's a them issue, you know. But God is also doing it for you. Because he got to take you somewhere.
Whether it's you having to walk away, and I'm okay with them walking away, because it just means that they weren't meant to be there. Sometimes it hurts, but as you go along through life's detours, you learn.
You do.
You learn in the detours.
And for me, people have to walk away. God got to send them away, because I ain't going to let them. Hey, what y'all do? God know me. My heart is for people, so he'll just snatch people away. Okay, you're not gonna do it, so I'm gonna help you. You know, and that's okay, and it's good. And he keeps me a good core, and I'm grateful. So.
Well, this has been good so far. So now we're gonna get into the segment of our show where we have a little fun. This segment is called Pick One, and I'm gonna name two people. In a genre for you to pick, and you just tell me which one you pick. So this is dealing, since you are an actress, this is two phenomenal actresses. So you only can pick one. Viola Davis or Angela Bassett.
Ah, no.
That's the beauty of it. You got it. We don't do no strawberry shortcakes, man. You got, meat and potatoes. You got to make a decision.
I love both of them. Yeah. How do you pick?
Both of them are
greatness to greatness. Oh.
But, who gets the edge? Pick one. Who gets the edge for you?
Don't y'all come for me, but I'm going to say Viola. And I'll say it because she will get raw in a role like nobody else. Any insecurity she has, she doesn't care about. If she got a bit, I don't know if y'all saw that episode of How to Get Away with Murder.
I've seen a few
episodes.
When she took that wig off and that makeup off, and she was looking all.
I did see that.
I saw that one.
You don't see a whole lot of actors or actresses who are willing to bypass that insecurity. I also read her book too, so I know what she's been through. So she lays it all out there. She lays it all out there, and I mean, Angela may have too, but I don't know as much about her story because I haven't seen no book that she wrote yet. But when I see Viola and everything that she had to overcome, and how she just gives all of herself in every role, how she trains harder than 20-year-olds just to be in a Woman King. Do you know how hard she had to train?
And that was a
At
good
her
movie.
age,
That was a good movie.
yes, she had to train super hard because usually Hollywood is going to get somebody much younger to do that role. And it was just, I just love how she gives her all and she's not afraid to work hard for what she wants. So
Yeah.
I'll choose her.
Yeah, I like both of them, of course. If I had to give the slight edge, only because I've always had a crush on this woman, it would be Angela. And what she did in What's Love Got to Do with It, like that. You know, when she played Tina, that was something. Of course, she was in Boys in the Hood, another one of my favorite movies. And Black Panther. She was majestic, but like Viola. I don't know if we any kin. She got my last name Davis, but she's definitely. I will only give Angela that slight edge because of that. Other than that, Viola has played some roles, and she will make you believe. Like that movie with Denzel. It was based off a play. I can't think of the name.
Yes.
Yeah, when
Fences.
Fences.
Yes.
When she cried.
I have a reel of me
That.
blowing her. Yeah, I got a monologue on my YouTube page of doing that. That was so powerful.
Yeah,
I need
so
to see that monologue because that was powerful.
Yeah, so but that's the only reason why I was out of that little bias, and I give a slight edge. But both of them are beasts. But that's what we do here, man. We like if you had to, yeah. So I get why I didn't realize she had a autobiography out.
I didn't
She
either.
does. And her childhood was crazy.
Wow.
Crazy.
Now, see, I can say that you kind of like piqued my curiosity because she is an amazing actress in The Help and everything that she does. She shows what an amazing actress she is. Now, my edge would have been given to Angela, but you actually made me think. And the reason why I say Angela is because the way she brings herself into every single character. And that's something that I have always loved, no matter who I am or when I'm even, considering someone for a role, I like for them to embody that character. That when people who have seen some of the people who have been in detours, you see them as that person. It's like, wow, people going around here like, I can't stand Lance.
Yes.
Because that man is the nicest person you could ever meet in your life. But the way she embodies every character and she stands up strong for what she believes in and everything. And she has been slighted quite a bit, even in the award area. So that's the reason why I've said this. Now for my pick one.
Okay.
Okay, so if you've never seen it, then you can say what you like in regards to movie or musical.
Okay.
But The Color Purple, the musical, or The Color Purple, the movie from long ago.
I'll say the movie. It's a classic. It is a classic. And when I tell you, I've watched that movie so many times. So many times. So when I watch movies, I get revelations from it. And then any movie that has me getting different revelations from it every time I watch it, that's a keeper. So I'll have to say the movie.
Okay. I think I would say the movie too, and that's different for me because I am a woman for musicals. I love musicals because I grew up at Mississippi Boulevard and then I was in New Direction, and it's like when you do things, it's all intertwined, the singing, the dancing, the acting, and I fell in love with that whole thing. I can't dance, I can carry a tune, but I can act. And I love something that incorporates all three. But however, the musical left out some of the very key components of the movie. So that's why I would say the movie.
Well, I'm not a musical person. But, we're gonna go with the movie. I mean, I have seen. It's been a while since I've seen it, but I mean, I've seen it quite a few times in the past, and of course, Oprah, Whoopi, Danny, the older light skinned man that passed away. I don't know. I forgot his real name in real life. When he was like, "You gonna let that woman Anderson talk to you like that in your own house?" Yeah, that So the movie for me, I would say the Color Purple movie. Yeah.
The musical was dope. Now I did enjoy the musical.
Yes, it was very nice. Great singing. Just took away from the movie just a little bit.
So now we're gonna move on to our next segment of the show. But before we do that, everyone is watching. You see that little button down below, and subscribe. Definitely subscribe. Push subscribe. Share it with your friends and family. Subscribe to the C.A.P podcast. Also, before we go into this next segment, if you have any questions that you want to send us, and it may be selected for our next banana peel, send it at the C.A.P podcast 3 at gmail.com, right below the C.A.P podcast 3 at gmail.com. So without further ado, we're going into the banana peel segment. And our banana peel for today, it says, I'm a hairstylist at an upscale boutique. We have a lot of high-end clientele, pro-athlete spouses, business owners, etc. I went out a few weekends ago with my girls and met a guy, and we hit it off. He happens to play for the New Orleans Saints when the NFL season is in. We've talked on the phone and went out on a few dates. I like him. The other day I was doing a new client's hair, and one of my colleagues knew her and asked to see a picture of her family from their vacation. So she decided to show me too. And the guy in the pic is the one I've been talking to, and it's her husband. I didn't say anything then, but when I confronted him, he acted dumbfounded. Should I say something to her or just stop doing her hair and say nothing? And this is from Symphony from Atlanta, GA. I'm going to let Erica allow you to give your take. Then I will give my take, and then we will allow our esteemed guest to give her take.
Phew. I'm going to say this one, this is kind of a hard one, but Symphony, I think that being that you confronted him and he acted dumbfounded. Me, myself, if I was in this situation, if I was really close to the person, then I would definitely say something. Maybe can get someone else to say something to her that may actually know her, because you don't know how she's going to react. And more times than not, he's probably done this before and she may already be aware of it. But you don't really know what to expect from her. And as far as saying nothing and just keep doing her hair, it would be hard for me to keep doing her hair, knowing what I know and knowing that you were actually dating this woman's husband. So if you're going to keep doing her hair, then you might actually have to say something. This is really hard. This is one that actually stumps me a bit. But maybe your friend, your colleague that knows her could possibly say something and know a good way to break it down to her. But you not actually knowing her, or maybe say something later and pray about it and see what words, the best words to say, because it would be good for her to know what's going on. But if you don't actually know her, that's kind of, I would say, pray about it and be very careful with the words that you say.
Okay, well, you have your take on that. Check this out, Symphony. I know he plays for the New Orleans Saints, but it seems to be that he's a Jet, because he's for the Jet. I don't even play. Keeping it 100, you don't know the lady, but you're doing her hair, or you've done her hair, and obviously, even though you didn't say it, she's probably liked the way you did her hair. that's a conflict of interest. You confronted him, he acted like, whatever. Yeah, you're going to have to stop doing her hair. I mean, unless you're going to tell her. And so really, to me, there's only one or two ways of handling that. Either you tell her or either you just stop doing her hair. And your colleague that knows her well, if she asks you, why you don't want to do her hair no more? I mean, I don't know if, depending on how trustworthy she is, you can let her know. But now that you know that he's married, just end it. If that's not how you get down. But yeah, that is, to me, it's, I know it seems cut and dry, but to me, that's how it looks. Just because anything else, you getting yourself in a Mary J. Blige song situation. If you continue to, now that you know this, because he didn't say it, obviously, when you met him, he didn't have his ring on or whatnot. And, maybe you didn't think to ask him, a professional athlete. And if he plays for the Saints in the season and lives in Atlanta, a lot of players may play for a certain team but live in a different city. But that's what I would tell you. Even though he played for the Saints, he should be a Jet and jet out on you. And so you need to be a tighten up and just let it go. Let it go. Stop doing her hair unless you're going to tell her. And so I'm not, one way or another, I'm not telling you to tell her unless you feel convicted to. But if you're going to, it's either one or the other. Either you tell her or either you just stop doing her hair and keep it moving now that you have broken it off with him. So we're going to ask our esteemed guest, what's your take on it?
It's difficult. These sports references, man, it's crazy. But this is it's a hard situation. You don't know this girl. So, I mean, you don't owe her anything. I think the first thing for me would be remove yourself from the situation in all aspects. That's probably what I would do. I definitely would cut him off or pretend like I don't know him. That's over. Her, not everybody wants to know. I want to know, but not everyone wants to know. I wasn't told, but I wanted to know, So it's kind of hard. It's going to be consequences either way you go.
Right.
So, like, if you tell her, she may get upset, she may not believe you or whatever, but you're going to plant something in her head that's going to, she's going to take back with her to be on the lookout for. Even if she says she don't believe you, you still planted the seed.
Right.
If you don't tell her, you probably don't need to do her hair anymore because it's going to be on your mind every time you see her, And then now you have to figure out what you're going to tell her about why you can't do her hair, especially if she enjoys the way you do her hair.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I feel like you could go either way, but you just have to weigh the consequences for each one, and which one sits best in your spirit. I'll put it that way.
Yeah. So either you have two choices. Either you can be a snitch or you can mess up your money or just walk away from all of it. But honestly, Symphony, real talk, this is, I know the ladies see it a little differently, and not that I don't see what they're saying, but to me, I guess it's like just either you say something to get it off your conscience, if it's weighing on your conscience, and actually for you to write into us, it must be, or just now that you cut it off with him, then you probably need to just stop doing her hair unless you can separate that and not think about it no more.
Yeah.
So if you can do that, then get your money.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Or if not, then just, if you don't want to say nothing, then just stop doing her hair and keep it moving. But yeah, so you're out there in the ATL, there's a lot of players out there. They're everywhere, but definitely,
yes.
Professional athletes, no matter what team they play for, living in Atlanta, you might want to, next time you run up on one, like just, whether they be honest or not, at least you didn't ask or whatnot. So hopefully that helps you out, Symphony. But, just do what you think is best. But both Erica and our esteemed guest Lavelle has gave you some insight. I'm telling you, you know what I'm saying, you make that choice. You know, he played for the Saints, but he was a Jet, and you got to tighten up like a Titan and just
that one.
Go ahead and So now we come to the segment of the show where we allow our guests to let our listeners and viewers know what you got coming up, all your social media handles. So have at it.
Okay, so a movie that is already out is Cubic Zirconia by Jerron Lockridge. It's on Tubi, so so you can check that out. Another one that's coming out soon is Make It Last by LaGwenda Hedrick. Make sure you look for that. We just had a run of the Dinner 2 stage play, maybe a week or two ago. We're going to do an encore. So that's by Basil, the comedian. Okay. And so that encore is going to be August 8th through the 10th. It's a weekend. Basil also wrote another play called The Retreat. We're going to do that in October 3rd through the 5th. And Under Pressure, of course. Season 2 is coming out. You guys, it's going to be so good. Check out the trailer on YouTube. You can search Under Pressure, the web series, on YouTube, and it'll pull right up. And the Season 2 trailer is on there. Make sure you click it and watch it. Season 2 is off the chain. It's, oh my gosh. It's a roller coaster. I just put it that way. As far as me, you can find me on Facebook, Instagram, under Lovely Lavelle. Both of them. They'll pop up. And I'm excited. You guys check out Under Pressure and like and subscribe as well. And to the podcast. Yeah. That.
Oh, most definitely. We definitely appreciate you. Glad to have had you today as a guest on the show. And so all you viewers and listeners, now you know what she has going on, how to reach her for any services or follow what she's her future endeavors with the films, the web series, and plays. So now we're heading into the detour moment with Erica.
Okay. Yes, and we definitely do appreciate you being here. It's very significant with this being the detour moment. I even have on the shirt. But when I did Detours 1, the very first person to purchase a Detours 1 ticket was Lavelle. I actually met her, so that was just like so special to me. Thank you from the bottom of my heart. And the person who you see here is the person who she is. Very genuine, very down to earth. So we definitely thank you for being here. Before I get into the Detours moment, if you're needing someone for a speaking engagement or as a life coach, you can book me at www.ericadjackson.com. That's www.erica, ERICA, D as in Denise, Jackson.com. You can also find me on Facebook on as Erica Jackson, E6 Coaching and Consulting, and Ephesians 6 Productions. And I'm also on Instagram as ejizzle34, I believe it is, and E6 Coaching and Ephesians 6 Productions. Two things, make sure that you are on the lookout on my Facebook pages for networking mixer that's coming up April 5th at the East Shelby Library. And later on this year, Manifest Conference will be back in August. So those two things. Listen, today's Detours moment. One of my favorite movies is The Wiz, and I thought about it because a friend contacted me the other day and said that his wife actually bought him a ticket to see The Wiz, which is in July. And anybody who knows me knows I love The Wiz. Detours 1 was about a prodigal daughter with the twist of The Wiz. So in that movie, there's something that Glenda the Good Witch is singing. She's singing this song called Believe. And she says, if you believe within your heart, you'll know. that no one can change the path that you must go. This is a journey. This whole life is a journey, and no one can change the path that you're on. God set it just for you, and you're going to go through some detours, but the path that he has you on is going to lead you exactly where he needs you to be. Sometimes there are things that happen in our lives, and we're like, I don't understand why this happened. I don't understand why this person had to leave me. I don't understand why I had to lose this job. But as you go along the path, as you keep on learning, as you keep on growing, you'll come to understand. But no one can change the path that you must go.
That was very inspirational, Erica. Good deal.
Thank you.
Before I get the brain drop moment, just want to say if you need a speaker or someone to be on a panel discussion or anything, that link below, you see Linktree/Jerry Davis. Hit me up. Like I tell you all the time, I'm not a pastor or a politician, but I have something to say, and I'll leave something on your brain, drop something on your brain that'll leave you differently than the way you came. So with that being said, the brain drop for today is you can throw up your hands or roll up your sleeves, but you can't do both. Let me say that again. You can throw up your hands or roll up your sleeves, but you can't do both. In this life, we're going to deal with adversity. That's a given, no matter where you are in life. But you got some people at the slightest bit of adversity, they'll retreat, or they'll throw their hands and say, woe is me. Well, if you really have faith in the Most High, you know that he won't put more on you than you can bear. But you're going to roll your sleeve up and do some work, because like the word says, faith without works is dead. A lot of people love to quote scriptures, but in that scripture, faith is key, but faith without works is dead. So you got to roll your sleeves up and get to work. You pray, and once you pray and Heavenly Father will do what he's going to do, now you got to do your part. So to anyone out there that's looking towards giving up on whatever it may be, professional, personal, relational, whatever it may be, just remember you can either throw your hands up and say, I quit, or roll your sleeves up and say, let me get on this, let me get to work, let me do my part. So just remember that. Today has been a phenomenal show. We want to thank our guest, lovely Lavelle, for coming on here today. And everyone out there, you know some of her endeavors and things that she's got going on, so definitely support that. I'm going to be checking out the web series, Under Pressure, and some of the other things that she said. So, yeah. So next time we on here, definitely tune in. Remember to like, subscribe, and share. And before we leave off, like something I leave with you every time at the end of every podcast, if you're going to be anything in life, be for real. This is JD.
This is Erica J.
Hey, peace.
Bye, y'all.